Cut! Alright, when you start out cooking, you want to go to your local Family Dollar store for all you little punk rock kids that don't know how to cook. It does take pots and pans. You're going to have to buy one of these for $9. This is Harley Mason. This is punk rock cooking for those punk rock kids that want to learn how to cook, that don't know how to cook. We're going to be cooking vegetable soup and also some butternut squash for you guys, the vegetarians out there. Visit your local grocery store and pick up a few items in order to cook, because normally it's not in your refrigerator. You need potatoes, chicken, that's usually not too sanitary, egg noodles, celery, carrots, some more chicken broth, and some onions. Also, you'll need some spices if you don't have those. I'll pull those out later. Next, you're going to want to prep everything. You got to cut up your celery, your carrots, your onions, and all that good shit. I always try to wash your carrots punk rock style in a dirty fucking sink, dude. Next, we're going to be cleaning some onions and cutting them up for it. You got to do all your prep work first. This is the sucky part. Well, you guys might not know how to fucking cut an onion, so here you go. You cut each end off. You slice it down the side, and then you just pull this piece off, and then it's pretty much clean. You slice it in half, and then what you're going to do is you just want to make dices. However you can use the fucking knife. Don't cut yourself. Don't get fancy with it, but just chop it up. Alright, next we're going to clean some potatoes. You're going to have to peel these kind of like the same way you did the carrots. Fuck! Motherfucker! That happens occasionally, and then you just wash it off and don't tell anybody about it. Alright, next we're going to get the chicken ready in the pot. Yeah, this is a whole chicken. Basically what you're going to do, open it up, take it out of the wrapping, or however you buy it. Put it in the pot. And you're just going to put enough water in there really to cover the chicken so it can boil. Go an inch over the chicken or so. While you're doing this, you want to add some seasoning to it. Obviously salt and pepper. You can actually cook quite a bit of food. Since you have onion, you don't really need onion powder, but I like to throw a little garlic powder in there. Bring it up to a boil, medium high to high, somewhere in there. Let it cook all thoroughly. Alright, punk rock kids, this is your drink of the night. I know you're used to drinking beer at the shows and having people pour you shots, but let's make it a little more sophisticated. We're going to make a gin and tonic with a little bit of lime. You're going to start out with a glass of ice. You're going to fill that up with about however much alcohol you like. You're going to cut your lime up. You're going to squeeze some lime into a glass. And then you're just going to fill it with a little bit of tonic water. Take your finger or the closest knife, spoon, or eating utensil next to you. Mix it up and enjoy. Delicious. For those of you that don't want chicken noodle soup, I know vegetarians and vegans are all over now. We're going to make a butternut squash soup. It's going to use a lot of the same ingredients, so it's easy to do both. And you know what, guys, making a dinner like this, it gives you the enjoyment of eating something hearty and fulfilling with your meat, your chicken and everything. And that hot ass girl that you're always dating that's a vegetarian, you get lucky at the end of the night as well. Alright, basically the difference between this and the chicken noodle soup is you're going to use a vegetable broth that you can buy at your local grocery. And this is made for vegetarians. No meat or animal products in it. And then what you're going to do is just chop off the end here. Just cut this thing in half somehow. Money. Alright, when you take your seeds out, I like to listen to the Misfits. It's got all that horror punk and all that good shit into it. And it just feels like Halloween, man. Next, what we're going to do to be able to cook these is we're going to add a little bit of water to the bottom of whatever you're cooking them in. That's good. Then you're going to lay these down, face down. Take the tags off. Preheat your oven to about 350 degrees, 375. You're going to bake this for probably 30 minutes or so. So this gives you a good time to get a good buzz going on while the chicken's cooking, while the squash is cooking, smoke a couple of cigarettes, listen to some music, whatever you want to do. Alright, since we're a punk rock cooking show, we're all about the bands and upcoming bands, and this is a great band out of Concord, North Carolina called Damsel. They're going to be the first one featured on our show. For those of you who've never used the oven, let me go ahead and explain this. You usually have a couple of knobs that are going to come on, or you're going to have to turn on. One's going to say bake or broil. You want it on bake. And then you're going to want it about 350 to 375. Usually you have a little indicator light that tells you when it's when your oven's done. When that light turns off, it's time to put the food in. Food goes in there like so, that gets shut. Make sure it's all the way shut as well, man. After your chicken gets done, this one's not done yet, but once it gets done, you're going to take the chicken out, you're going to take all the skin off of it, take the meat off the bones, and then you're going to put it back in stock, and you're going to put all your vegetables in there, and you're going to let them cook until everything's tender, and then you'll add your noodles. Just like every other trendy punk rock kid, drink beer of choice, PBR. Just a warning to viewers, I usually get drunk while I'm cooking, so you will see a personality change throughout the evening. Alright, on our next step, we're going to take the chicken out of the pot so we can take the skin off of it and the meat off the bone so we can put the meat back in to be able to use for our soup. This would probably take a pair of tongs. It should be fairly easy. It comes out usually in one piece. Drop it in a bowl. I recommend letting it sit for a few minutes to cool off so you can actually handle it, because you're going to have to use your hands to do this part. So just set this to the side. While this is cooling off, you can also add your vegetables. What you're going to add is your celery, carrots, onions, potatoes. We're going to save some of it. I chopped up enough for the other soup as well. Alright, now instead of buying chicken broth at your local store, what you just did when you boiled that chicken was pretty much make your own. And that's what it's going to look like. Full of deliciousness. And then what I usually do is just add a can of theirs as well. It's got a little more seasoning to it. And you know what, we all overcook occasionally, so just add this, it gives you a little more broth. Alright fellas, now it's time to take this butternut squash out. So what we got to do is get a pot holder. It's not located with the mud knife. And then you're going to pull it out of the oven. Looks delicious. It's going to be nice and tender, that lets you know it's done. Then you can turn these knobs off. You remember these? I showed you at the very beginning of the show. You're going to have to put these in the off position so you don't burn your house down. Alright, for our vegetarian soup, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the chicken broth. We're going to get this started since we just got our vegetables in with the chicken soup. What you're going to need, I've already showed you, is the vegetable broth. You're going to need 4 cans of this. We're going to open it up, put it into the pot, and then start cooking all these vegetables in with it, which is the celery, carrots, onions, and potatoes, just like the chicken noodle soup. Pop in a couple of holes. Alright, what you're going to do is when you pull this out of the oven, you're just going to take a spoon, and it should be tender enough to where you can just peel this meat away, just like a potato, and fill your bowl up with it. Just basically do like you would do mashed potatoes. Alright, next what we're going to do is we're going to take the soup that we made for the vegetarian dish, and we're going to puree everything. We're basically going to blend it until it's a mush. You want to start this real slow or you'll have shit everywhere. You're going to mix it all together. Start really slow again because this shit's hot. Right now what we're going to do is season our stocks and salt and pepper each to taste. Take the skin and the bones away from the actual meat of the chicken. We're going to place it on a plate. And then the meat we're just going to put back in the bowl so we can put back in the soup. What you're going to do here is basically you're going to throw away all the fat and the skin and everything like that along with the chicken bones. And what you'll do is just tear this apart and throw it in the bowl. Make sure it's cool enough to handle. That's key right there, man. This goes a lot smoother if you just let it sit for a little while. Alright, once you peel all the chicken off the bone, it'll kind of look like this. I like leaving it thick and chunky because I'm a hearty man. So what we'll do is just place this back into our soup. Let that season really well and cook and get delicious. Now that we have both chicken stock and the vegetable stock, we're going to let everything get tender and we're just going to sit and wait, drink another beer, have a cigarette, whatever you want to do. Alright, what we're going to do next is add some egg noodles. Those were also bought at your local friendly neighborhood store. What you want to do is you want to add about 2 cups of these to the soup. Soup's pretty much done. Once these get done, it's time to serve. This is the time when you're ready to serve. This is what you're going to do. A little piece of celery for your vegetarian dish. If you can't tell, it's orange. It's vegetarian. Serving the chicken noodle. Party better than progresso. Now that's punk rock cooking.